Hey guys and gals, it's Jim here, and I thought I'd do this little tutorial video on LEDs, how to wire them up, the proper resistors for different voltages, and everything. And that I did my first base coat of my satin black on a Batmobile. So I'll let that dry overnight or for another day or so before I start handling it and doing all kind of work on putting the LEDs in, doing the interior, all the gas caps and everything. I thought I'd do this little deal video on LEDs, resistors, and voltages and all that. Whether you're a beginner modeler that wants to take a crack at lighting something, or somebody that's already done some lighting on some models and stuff. Hopefully this will help all you guys out. I'm using actually diffused, what they call diffused LEDs, so you can see the colors. I apologize, I don't have no green ones, but basically they're gonna fall into the same category and all that. But I know I've seen some other videos that are that go through stuff like this, but some of them have incorrect resistor tolerances and stuff. So I thought I'd do this real quick video to help you guys out. If any of you car guys maybe want to try lighting the headlights and tail lights on a model car kit, whether you want to run it off of a 9-volt battery. I don't mess around with 3.5 volts or coin batteries. I usually go 9-volt batteries. If I get anything like maybe over 5 or 6 LEDs, then I'll use a 12-volt wall plug-in and all that. And we'll get to that later on in the video. But for now, I just want to go through. You can pick up a variety of different LEDs, flashing, flickering, the flickering candle effect. They got the ones now that are breathing. They kind of pulse on and off. Different shapes, different sizes. But there's the information I'm going to share with you holds true to no matter what type of LED you get. They also come in I got my clear ones. These are, like I said, these are all diffused, so they're not going to give you as much glare as, say, a regular clear LED, like clear blue, clear white, clear yellow, clear red, clear green, so on and so forth. But the same basic resistors and LEDs, what resistors to use for certain LEDs for certain voltages is going to hold the same no matter what type of LED it is. As long as you go, it's basically the color. It's not so much the type. Like a flickering LED is going to be resisted up per 9 volts, the same as a regular clear LED in that. So, depending on the color. Um, so basically, what we got for your reds, greens, and yellows, they run at a different amp than the amps than your clear LEDs and your blue LEDs. Clear and blue fall into the same amp range. So you're going to be resisting up your whites and your blues the same way. When you get into your reds, yellows, and greens, there might be ambers, stuff like that. You might see orange LEDs. I do all my get all my LEDs from a place out in the state of Washington called Lighthouse LED. He's got the best prices. He's got the most variety and all that kind of stuff. And just lately, I don't know for how long, I usually order from him direct and stuff over the phone, but he also manufactures his LEDs. He's not just a seller. His company that he owns actually manufactures his LEDs and stuff, and he stands behind his products too. Very nice gentleman. I've been dealing with him probably for about 10 or 12 years now. But anyway, we're going to start out with your colored LEDs, your reds, your greens, your yellows, no matter what size, what type, whether rectangular, 3 millimeter, 5 millimeter, they're all going to be resisted up. Now, if you're going to do resistors, if you want to run a 9-volt battery for just a few, like a handful of LEDs, you want to resistor them up at 360 ohms resistors. So you got, they all look the same. They got color codes on them, but you're going to want to run 360 ohm resistors for a 9-volt battery. If you want to run them off of a 12-volt wall plug-in, no matter how many amps the wall plug-in runs at, you're going to resistor them up with 510 ohm resistors. You can run, if you wire up your LEDs, run at 12 volts, and you change your mind to run them at 9 volts, you can do that. They're just going to be a little bit dimmer. If you try to run your LEDs, if you wire them up for 9 volts and you try to run them off at 12 volts, you're going to get that little flash pop. So when you fry your LED, it won't explode on you. It's just going to be a bright flash, and you'll hear like a little pop, and that's it. That's why I call it a flash pop. Now, your clears and your blues, you're going to run those. If you're going to run them at 9 volts, you're going to use 300 ohm resistors. If you're going to run them at 12 volts, you're going to use 470 ohm resistors. And it's going to be the same thing. If you wire them up for 12 and you decide instead you want to use a 9-volt battery, you can do that, and it's going to be the same principle. If you wire them up for 9 volts and you plug them into a 12-volt wall plug-in, you're going to see the flash pop again too. And the same holds true if these were if these were flickering blue LEDs and you run them at 12 volts, you're still going to use the same resistor ohms, the values and stuff. It's not going to change if it's a flickering, a flashing, a slow flashing, a fast flashing, a breathing, what they call breathing or pulsing LED. It's still going to hold true. White and blue get wired up with the same resistors. Your colored ones are going to get wired up the same way because they run at different amps. So that's what we're doing with the LEDs. If you don't want to get into wiring up your own, you can always buy pre-wired LEDs. They already got a resistor. Most of your pre-wired you can run at 9 or 12 volts. It doesn't matter. If you run them at 12 volts, they'll be a little bit brighter. 9 volts, they'll be a little bit dimmer. These just have plastic tubes because these are set up for when I do something with fiber optics, someplace to hold all my fiber optics bundles and stuff like that. But they already got a resistor already soldered onto them and all that. The shrink tubing, they're all set just to wire up, and boom, you're set to go. Same holds true with your SMDs, the real tiny 0805s. I know it's going to be hard to pick them up, but you can see on the ends of the leads, they do have resistors. These you can run at 9 or 12 volts. It doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt nothing. And most of your SMDs do come pre-wired. I have seen some guys that wire up their own. Man, they are so tiny. You got to have jewelers, binoculars or glasses or whatever they use and stuff. But these are so tiny, everything. They're probably about the size of the head of a straight pin. But anyway, these are pre-wired, and they're made in the States. When you buy them, they will run off of 9 or 12 volts, so you don't have to figure stuff like that out. As far as the 12-volt wall plugins, this is a common. It's a trying to find it. It's a 12-volt 2 amp. This is good for couple dozen LEDs or so. If I get anything bigger, like the Enterprise refit with about 200 different LEDs, some of it being LED tape, I'll use a 5 amp on there to give myself a lot extra power, so you don't get nothing dimming down, or it's not getting enough voltage to get everything to full brightness and stuff. But that's the 12-volt wall plug-in and all that. I get that at Lighthouse LEDs too. He also sells his stuff on the internet. These are about $5.5, $6 a piece, and they're well worth it, So I thought I'd go through this little deal with your different LEDs before I get into lighting the Batmobile and stuff. Like I said, I want to let the paint sit for about a day or two before I finally start handling it and everything. But I just thought I'd give you guys some basics and stuff like that, I usually buy my resistors. I buy my LEDs bulk, but usually they're about anywhere from, I think, 15 to 18 cents. Some of your like flashing or flickering ones might be 22 cents a piece. The more you order, if you get 50 or something, the price goes down a few cents for each one. My resistors, I order them 100 at a time because I do quite a bit of lighting. I pay $4 for 100 resistors and stuff like that. Sometimes if it's a resistor, I might not use as many. I might only get like a dozen or two. So, but anyway, I thought this might be a little bit helpful for you and everything like that. And you know, if you got any questions, feel free to get a hold of me. I leave my email in the description on every one of my videos and stuff like that. Um, and basically also, I run my LEDs in parallel, which each LED is connected to the power source. It's not like a series is when you connect the negative lead to a positive lead, then the next LED down the line. If one LED goes out, the whole string is going to go out. That's kind of like your Christmas lights. If you wire them up in parallel, where each LED is connected to the power source, if one goes out, the rest are going to stay lit. So I didn't want to get into too much of that stuff, the difficult. I just wanted to basically go over what size resistors to use for what color LEDs. And like I said, you know, there's different shapes. There's rectangular, there's 1.8 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 5 millimeter, there's 10 millimeter. I got a few of those years ago. I was working on something that I wanted a really big LED in that, but it's going to be the same thing. 12 volts is going to be your 470 and 300 ohms, and your colored LEDs are going to be your 510 and your 360 ohms. So that's pretty much gonna wrap this video up and everything. Hope this is helpful. I want to thank all my subscribers. Thanks to all my new subscribers. Thanks for all the great comments you guys been leaving me. Thanks for hitting the like button. And we'll talk to you guys real soon with another video. And like I said, you got any questions or ever want to ask questions about lighting something, just something basics and all that, feel free to get a hold of me, and I'll get back in touch with you as soon as I can. So for now, that's going to do it. Hope everybody had a Thanksgiving. The Christmas holiday is rushing up on us real quick here and stuff. So so far we've been having decent weather the beginning of December up here in the northern part of Illinois. We've been in the 50s most of this week. It's felt more like mid fall or early spring and everything, and not so much December. We haven't had no snowfall this year and all that so far, so everything's pretty cool. So supposed to get a little bit of chance of some light stuff next week, but hope everybody's staying safe out there, and you and your families. I hope everybody has a nice holiday season, and if all that, I know I'll be doing some videos before then, so I got a few that I want to do in the next day or so. But that's going to do it for this one. So till the next time, everybody take care, stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.